Many mistake silence for a lack of influence. In reality, ignoring an opponent is a method of reclaiming the leverage they expect you to surrender. Human behavior relies on predictability. We are wired to expect reciprocity, a push followed by a shove, an insult met with a defense. This diagram shows a standard social expectation, a continuous loop between provocation and reaction. They bait you, looking for a signal that their action worked. Every reaction is an energy transaction. A defensive response leaks your focus, transferring your attention to the initiator. This leak allows a manipulator to map your behavior. They learn which buttons to press and how you respond to pressure, essentially creating a blueprint of your internal mechanics. By engaging in this expected feedback loop, we prioritize a moment of emotional relief over long-term strategy. We give the other person the exact data they need to keep us in their orbit of control. The Ayano-Koji mindset treats engagement as a limited resource. It views silence as a calculated choice to withhold the feedback others use to navigate a social interaction. Looking at the loop again, you can see what happens when the return path is severed. By removing the expected reaction, you create a psychological vacuum. Without a reaction to push against, the aggressor loses their footing. They lack the emotional feedback required to calibrate their next move, often leading to a sense of imbalance. Silence forces the opponent's mind to search for meaning. They must decide if your lack of reaction signifies confidence, hidden knowledge, or simple lack of interest, forcing them to expend cognitive resources trying to solve the riddle of your silence. This shift moves the psychological burden entirely onto the aggressor. They are forced to sustain their own momentum, often exhausting their options while you remain centered and untouched. When you refuse to fill space in conversation, your silence acts as a psychological mirror. In a desperate attempt to close the feedback loop, they often project their own insecurities and assumptions into the quiet. They fill the gap with their own justifications. This state often leads to visible mistakes. They might over-explain, shift their tone, or show signs of hesitation, leaking the very information they would have otherwise kept hidden during a standard confrontation. While they expend energy trying to elicit a response, you are free to watch the full spectrum of their behavior unfold naturally. You are gathering data without having to trade any of your own. Using silence as a filter allows you to identify vulnerabilities. By letting the opponent exhaust their aggressive energy against a void, you accumulate the intelligence necessary to position yourself advantageously if a move becomes required. Over time, this discipline leads to emotional preservation. By refusing to engage with trivial drama, you conserve the mental resources needed for decisions that actually affect your trajectory. This creates scarcity value. As the frequency of your reactions decreases, the weight of the rare moments you do speak or act increases. Your words carry more significance because they are no longer diluted by unnecessary noise. This scarcity naturally alters your environment. People who rely on drama or quick emotional validation will eventually seek it elsewhere when they realize you provide no return on their investment. Those who remain in your orbit learn to adapt. They modify their behavior to account for your restraint, often becoming more measured and deliberate in their own interactions with you. This dynamic sets the rhythm for a quiet hierarchy. When your responses aren't guaranteed, others begin to anticipate them, subconsciously adjusting to the standard of composure you have established. Provocation loses its ability to manipulate your path. Instead of threats to be feared, insults and pressure become data points that reveal the desperation or strategy of those around you. When you stop reacting to the noise that doesn't serve your purpose, you gain the clarity to focus on the variables you can actually direct. You aren't just detaching, you are choosing exactly when and where your influence is spent.